Ethan Oliver Ralph decided that he would just send a random ass fucking letter to the courthouse in Minnesota explaining his situation to Yana so that this whole thing can be resolved. So this has been filed under the court as a docket item because they don't know what the fuck else to do with it. Obviously, Ralph cannot directly like call the judge and talk about his case. It's called an ex parte communication. You can't do it. So if the judge gets any mail regarding a case, it has to be filed as a docket or something like that. I've not read this. I did not have time because I was busy running around like a fucking headless chicken. So let me get a sip of water. Go. To your honor and the honorable court. My name is Ethan Ralph. I have a nationwide warrant out in your jurisdiction for contempt of court. I live in Mexico. I go visit my son monthly in California. I cannot visit him for Christmas with this warrant outstanding since I could be detained at the border. I cannot simply fly there and be arrested in St. Paul since I have cats and a household to maintain here in Mexico. Basically, this warrant has locked me in Mexico until I can get it quashed. I was hopeful that you could quash the arrest warrant and allow me to appear for a hearing on the matter via Zoom. I'm not trying to dodge court proceedings or escape any kind of resolution there. I will definitely attend the hearing and can proceed from there, accepting whatever judgment there is, etc. I hope you can see the uniqueness of my situation and thus be willing to accommodate my request. I can be reached on this fax number? What the fuck? My email address is ethanralph@rocketmail.com or theralph@theralphreport.com. I have a Memphis, Tennessee fax number because I rented one online. Happy Thanksgiving and thank you for reading this letter. Sincerely, Ethan Ralph. And as you can see, this is watermarked, officially filed. I love the little scribblings on the on the bottom, CC County, and then there's like the date and stuff. It reminds me a lot of this. Let me find it real quick. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I don't. This is a very weird thing to bring up, but um, it's the resignation letter of Richard Nixon, and it's like I hereby resign the office of the President of the United States, who's sincerely Richard Nixon. And then it's addressed to Henry Kissenger, who signs it. Like when it was received, like the little scratches on the margins just reminded me of this for whatever reason. Um, it's I forgot until I just looked at this that Henry Kissinger was the one who received Richard Nixon's resignation letter, and him signing this. Now that I know who Kissinger is and the role that he played in Zionism and how Richard Nixon hated Jewish people and hated the Israeli lobby in the United States, this signature doesn't just seem like the Secretary of State acknowledging that he received the letter at 11:35 a.m. It's kind of like a giant dick print, a circumcised dick print slapped on this fucking letter. Like, yeah, I got the president out. Mission accomplished. Now that I know these things, it's a little bit different than when I first saw them on Wikipedia 10 years ago. Or however long ago I saw them.
Access denied. Access denied.
All right, moving right along. Mr. Vickers. I cannot fucking believe that he's found a way to wiggle into two different streams in a row. Because he's not really doing too much. But actually, I don't have a thing for this, but he tweeted out "Trust No Bitch," which was in response to people finding out about his restraining order against his ex-wife. But that's a Ralph reference. Mr. Vickers endeavors to be as cool as Ethan Ralph one day so that his own daughter will respect him again. But while going through divorce, he's actually also being sued in California for $125,000 A elderly woman trusted his coin shop, the Rockland Coin Shop in Sacramento, with what I believe would be something for managing silver, gold and silver for a senior person. I think it might even be in relation to an IRA. That would kind of make sense, but if not, he just received $100,000 from this one person to buy gold and silver as part of a retirement strategy, and he just stole it. So they're suing him. Good luck collecting. He is in bankruptcy, so I don't think that's going to go too well for her. Sucks. The fuck. I don't know why we don't have. I think for that kind of things, it's a. It should be a fraud charge, but we don't really have prisons anymore for people who abuse the system like this. Pay, and Andy Worski, who of course had the Kino Casino now. That's kind of it's very funny because it's like that's what they're famous for, but in my mental timeline, that's kind of like a recent thing. Before Kino Casino, PPP was like the second fiddle alongside Godwinson and all they did. It's so hard to explain what PPP was before Kino Casino. Him and Godwinson were like a ragtag group of like Omega A-logs. They were like omnidirectional A-logs. They A-logged everybody equally and tried to cause as many problems for as many people as humanly possible. And they had this way of, I discussed this during the Coach Red Pill stream, but to kind of summarize, they had this philosophy called the Kino Dogma, or some people complain and said it's dog me, but whatever. I think it's dogma. The Kino Dogma 2007, which was that you always film yourself as a YouTuber would in 2007. So you have to use like a shitty webcam. You have to record yourself with just your phone or something. You can never use OBS. You can screen record by holding your camera up to your screen, but you can never use your computer directly. It's shit like that. And so it was like these very esoteric, they even called it esoteric. That was their word for it. They called them esoteric videos, where they just like shit on internet personalities and they uploaded it to like 8 million different YouTube channels. And then for whatever reason, sometime after I started doing my podcast, and I think sometime after Jim stopped doing regular streams, because there was a period of time where he was doing streams like every Sunday, I want to say. PPP decided to start up the Kino Casino with Andy Worski. It was after PPP had a breakup with Surfer and Godwinson, even, I want to say. And then PPP was on his own, so he hooked up with Andy Worski and they started doing Kino Casino together. But before then, PPP was a very long-running character in the sector, and also this extremely weird figure who didn't really fall into any category. But since he started doing Kino Casino, he has been basically a fixture, and he's normalized quite a bit in terms of how he broadcasts. He's very in line with what you would expect. Andy Worski is the opposite. Andy Worski has always done very normal podcast stuff in different forms, and he has had tremendous burnouts again and again for over a decade. And you'll continually hear his name because he's brought up a lot because he was present for really, really weird shit that happened that was like high profile internet drama shit for like the last decade. So he caught another, I say a second win, but it's not a second win. It's like an 8th win for him. He's been all over in terms of like ups and downs. Because he obviously he very publicly has had substance abuse issues, but he also kind of like stabilized with PPP on the Kino Casino. But